won't removing divisions just end in rematches in title games more often? I thought we were trying to be less like the NFL. And what Jan is talking about here is a rule that has since been approved by the NCAA that you don't have to have divisional play to have a conference championship, which means you can just have a great big hodgepodge of teams, 10, 12, 14, and they can just do whatever. Have your schedule however you want it to. You don't have to have divisions like the SEC and the Pac-12 and the Big Ten and the ACC like they currently have. Well, as soon as that got passed, the Pac-12 said, forget about 2023. This year, like this upcoming year that we're 100 days away from, we will not honor division results. We're just going to take the top 2 teams in the conference, regardless of division, and they're going to play in the conference title game. But they're going to keep, at least for this year, the divisional scheduling format, which is kind of weird and could lead to some very wonky results. But Jan is making a more overarching suggestion that this is going to lead to more rematches. And she may very well be right. Think about it. If we don't have divisions in the SEC, statistically, Auburn and Alabama could play in the SEC title game. Or in the Big Ten. This is really the one that's got a lot of people's attention. Ohio State and Michigan are not moving that game from the last week of the regular season. This past year, guess who the top 2 teams in the Big Ten would have been if you did not honor division results? You would have had a rematch. That snowy Saturday that we were a part of, we were on the field for that game in Ann Arbor, and then the storming of the field, they would have cleaned that field off. They would have both headed to Indianapolis, Indiana, in a climate-controlled environment. They would have played again 6 or 7 days later. And Jan's saying, they do that sometimes in the NFL. Do we want that in college football? I don't think there's a perfect answer here. I've racked my brain just like everyone else has. I don't think there's a perfect answer, Jan. I am actually on board with doing away with divisions. But even I understand, hey, that runs us a risk of maybe having a result that not all of us are on board with. I mean, I can't tell you that I'm crazy about the idea of a couple of teams playing back-to-back Saturdays. No, I'm not crazy about that. We just watched Alabama and Georgia rematch from a conference title game to a national title game, and people were turned off by that. So I can't imagine how turned off you may be if you end up getting the rematches that go 7 days apart instead of at least 3 or 4 weeks apart. But what is the alternative? The alternative is to keep things like they are right now. And I know that I'm the one fighting here sometimes to preserve certain aspects of this sport, but I'm not totally resistant to change if it's good. I think this is good change. Because I think that the ultimate thing you want to do is you want to reward excellence. You don't want someone from the Big Ten West going, even though there are 3 or 4 teams you would power rate above them in the Big Ten East, just because of a technicality, just because of an imaginary line drawn on a map. That's not the true spirit of competition. And so, yeah, we do run the risk of having rematches. That's just something we're going to have to bite the bullet on. The only alternative really to fully do away with that possibility is something that I don't think anyone's going to be on board with, nor would I. The only way you can avoid that is take your out-of-conference games and play them at the end of the year, which would, for all sorts of reasons, be dumb. So you've got to do it the way you got to do it. And if you're going to have your conference title games, yes, you do have to run the risk of rematches, just the way it is.